Over 3 years ago, I made a video about an iSlide, which was the Yongnuo YN360 version 1. 2 years later, I made a video about version 3 Pro, and it was a huge step up. Yongnuo has now dropped version 4, and I don't think you should buy one. I think you should buy 2. I'm going to break this video up into 3 different parts: the physical side, the features, and the comparison. The physical side. Now, if you're looking to upgrade your YN360 1 or perhaps version 3 and see if version 4 is really worth it, I'm going to take you through that and some of the physical features. Firstly, absolutely everything has been moved to the back. The controller, the handle, the battery placement of the NPF battery, and this allows the entire front, which is 57 centimeters long, which is basically the same size as version 3 and version 3 Pro, but allows it to be covered in LEDs, and a lot more LEDs than there was in any of the other YN360s. Now, it also comes with detachable barn doors, finally, and they're actually attached with thumb screws, so you don't need any tools on set to worry about having to take them on or off. It also comes with a bag, and what's pretty cool with the bag is if you get 2 of these, you can actually fit 2 into one bag, which makes transporting them a lot easier. Also, it does come with a wall plug, and the wall plug slot is now on the side at the back, so it's not located in the front. The NPF battery slot is located at the bottom, and what's pretty cool is if you use a 970 like I use them mostly, is you can actually stand this on a table, whereas before it was very wobbly even if you used a mini tripod. And with that said, it weighs in at 794 grams. Now, the detachable remote, because it can detach, can operate without a battery. I found that version 3 Pro, when the battery died on the remote, my light didn't power the remote, and that's quite obvious. However, now it does. It powers the remote completely even when there's no battery in the remote. And the fact that the remote is now not magnetic is great, because often before, if you were carrying the light under your arm, you'd bump the magnetic remote off. Also, on this side, you now have a rotating little knob, which goes from standard mode to lock mode to multiple lights mode. Now, standard mode is that standard mode, but the lock mode is pretty cool. Whether you're handing this off to an assistant to hold, or perhaps you're moving it from one location to another, this entire top part of the light is touch sensitive. So you can control your hue, your CCT, or your intensity via that, but you often touch it unwantingly. Is that even a word? Anyway, you now have the lock feature. You lock it, it disables. Even if the remote is off, you can no longer do anything because the light is locked. That third mode of multiple lights is pretty cool when you use it with the app, and I'll get to that shortly. The features. Now, the original YN360 light was in every creator's bag. Back then, the iSlide was the light. Now, they do make tube lights nowadays, and yes, Yongnuo also makes modern day tube lights, but there's just something about the OG YN360 that kind of hits home. And the YN364 is no longer just an RGB and basic Kelvin iSlide. This is the real McCoy, with 31 special effects and a fully adjustable Kelvin. This changes what the YN360 used to stand for. The 31 special effects allows you to adjust the speed of them as well as the brightness of them, and you can do that from the remote or the app. And these little scenes go from fireworks scenes to police cars, bad bowl, paparazzi, and so much more. And accessing these different modes from RGB or CCT or the scene mode is just via the tap of a button. Now, to give you an idea, the car scene that you saw in the beginning was to give you a bit of a street vibe. We had one light in front of the car set to a cool blue. The second light was other side the hosepipe, giving that street lamp color vibe. Then we had a fire scene, one light on the ground set to a fire. The second light placed high up set to a cool white to give a moonlit effect. We also had the thunderstorm scene, one light outside set to lighting, the other giving Michelle a natural 5600 Kelvin, whilst the light in the background was giving a warm inside vibe. Then we had the police car scene, which was pretty simple. One light in the front of the car, the other on the side at the back window to give Michelle a look like she's being pulled over. Add some sound effects and you've got a believable scene. Now the app does take some getting used to, I'm not gonna lie, but once you're used to it, it's insanely powerful. When you switch to multiple light mode and you connect the app to 2 or 3 or more lights, you are not only able to adjust the color of the lights and put them in a sequence, but that sequence can be very creative. You can create a scene of lights and say that this light does this and moves from this color to this color, and another light does this. You can then add that scene into a playlist and hit play, and it will play out that sequence of light. You can then add multiple scenes, if you will, into a playlist and hit play and put it on loop. Basically, the possibilities of creativity with this is endless. The comparison. Now, when it comes to lights like the YN360 or any form of RGB light, you kind of want to know, is it bright enough? Is it good enough? And is it any different? So to test this, we put YN360 version 1 versus version 3 Pro, which is the outgoing hero, and version 4. As you can see, even on CCT mode, version 4 is a lot brighter. Now, version 4 in CCT mode does have a lot more customization. Unlike version 1 and version 3 Pro, which was 3200 Kelvin beads and 5600 Kelvin beads, you couldn't change it any further. But version 4 allows you to go to 2000 Kelvin up to 10,000 Kelvin. And although it seems a little bit brighter, in person it's a lot. Not just that, but you can now change green and magenta hue in that CCT mode, which is often only seen on very high-end lights. But when it comes to RGB and what the YN360 has always stood for, the YN360 destroys every single previous version. This is red, green, blue, and a mix to kind of make pink put aside. And you can see that the version 4 is miles brighter. Not only is the panel in the front obviously larger, but you can see the color saturation on. When you put it on in a room, you just know that it's powerful. And if you want a display of that, let me show you. Let's get this light to 5600 Kelvin, just to give you an illustration of what it's gonna look like where I'm sitting. And we're gonna take it down to 1%. That's 1%. I do have a softbox over here, but let's take that up to 25%. It's getting a bit bright actually. 50%. And then let's just crank it all the way through to 100%. It is ridiculously bright. And then for those of you that are wondering what it looks like in RGB mode, well, this is 100% in a bit of a teal color. That is a lot of color, as you can see. Not just that, but obviously in all these CCT modes, you can change the saturation as well as the intensity. The possibilities with this is endless, and that is why the verdict on the YN360 is not just to kind of get one of these, it's to get 2 of these or 3 of these. Adding multiple RGB lights to any specific scene, as you can see behind me, changes the dynamic of everything. We've used this as key lights, as kicker lights, absolutely everything. We've tried and tested them, and I've been using the YN360 for years. Now the standard price on this is coming in at $155, but I do believe they are running a special on their website at the moment for $120. Not sure how long that's going to last, but maybe check it out. It's a very good special. Holding this is amazing. It just feels good when you hold it. I will be dropping a link below where you guys can pick it up. So check it out. If you want to read more in the link below and see a few more features that it has, maybe I've missed something that you were really looking for. If I have, drop a comment below. I'm happy to answer it. That's it from me, wherever you are in the world. Have a good day, good evening, good night. Goodbye.